YouTube? It's Above Average Coding. It's finally time to show you guys my Season 4 controller settings. In this one, I'm going to go over what changes I've made to my controller settings from Season 3, and then also the very subtle new settings we got, or new setting we got here in Season 4, which is what we're actually going to open up with. Now, no real changes to the controller settings, except for the addition of zoom reset behavior. This was added with the launch of Season 4, and there are actually two options of Infinite and Legacy. Now, if you use Infinite for this, guys, your zoom will stay on whatever it was when you scoped out of the weapon, and if you choose Legacy, it will reset to the default zoom. To basically show what this is, guys, I have the sniper rifle here. Obviously, you have the 5x zoom and then the 10x zoom, right? So if you are on the infinite setting, which we currently are, if you scope into the 10x and then unscope your weapon, look around, do whatever you want, scope back in, you are still on the 5x zoom. Same thing if you go out to 10. When you scope back in, you'll be on 10. Go back into 5. We're still on 5. Perfect. You guys can imagine when you go to Legacy here, if you zoom into 5 and then scope out, scope back in, you are back to 10. So each time you scope in, you have to go back to zooming in on the weapon. I believe this is how past Halos work. Do not quote me on that, but I think that is why it is called Legacy, because that's how it's always been. However, they changed it with Halo Infinite, and that is why keeping the same zoom is called Infinite. I don't know if that's exactly why they're called that, but that is what the two separate settings do, guys. And that is really the only addition of any controller settings for Season 4 here on Halo Infinite. So if you care about that, it's perfect. You can now adjust that. I believe default is Infinite, but I actually prefer Legacy, so I'm going to be leaving it on that. And then the only other change is, guys, I believe all of these sliders went to 0 and 100, but now the outer dead zones start at 55 and go to 100, and then the inner dead zones start at 0 and go to 45, so that leaves one little dead area of, 10%, I believe. So that is one change, completely different than it was, but also completely doesn't matter. I just leave it on default, which is all what you're looking at here, which is now appropriately shown by the little arrow above. Okay, a little bit to talk about there at the right at the beginning, but now we're going to get into my controller settings, guys, and the changes that I have made. Now, as I've gotten better at the game and I've gotten into higher lobbies, playing in Onyx lobbies with Brent and things like that, guys, I have been having trouble hitting perfect medals and really keeping my accuracy good. But what you experience in those lobbies is not so much players moving a lot differently, but players do not miss. You have to have your accuracy very good. And what I've been having trouble with is that final headshot. So I've actually lowered my sensitivity. And I talked a little bit about this in my Season 3 controller settings video, because I think I went from like 5 to like 4, maybe 4.5. But now I am very low. I think I am maybe an entire 1 digit lower than I was in Season 3. So I was 3.5 on my horizontal and 4.5, I believe, on my vertical. And now I'm down an entire 1 cent, down to 2.5 and 3.5. But I went from 3 look excel to 4 look excel. So the reason for this is, obviously, the lower sensitivity you go, guys, the slower the turn you have, especially moving the reticle, which is what I wanted, right? I want it to be slower, so it's easy for me to keep it over the enemy, and basically my bigger, like, movements when I'm making those finer aims, guys, they do less because the sensitivity is lower. But as this leads to more slow turn, the lower you go, I want it to go up on the look excel, because I don't want this to slow down my, like, turn as much, because quite often sometimes you have to spin around maybe to go to a different point, or maybe you ran past an enemy and you have to turn around and try to put in some damage on them. So I went up on my look excel to kind of minimize the slow turn, but keep my sensitivity lower for the, like, you know, the small box where the gunfight could happen. Maybe the enemy jumps, or the enemy strafes, the enemy slides, anything like that. So I can kind of like just slam my stick to the side and not have as big of a problem in these gunfights, while also keeping my turn fast enough where I'm not completely, like, trying to turn around and I just can't, like, turn towards the enemy at all. So that's really the main big change that I made with my Season 4 settings. The higher I go, the more meta it feels for me to be on a lower sensitivity. Now, does this work for everybody? No, guys, but these are my controller settings, and as I get further along, I just find I do better with the lower sensitivity, so that is why I'm now at 4, 2.5, 3.5, because just more success with the lower sensitivity, and then to counteract the slow turn of the low sensitivity, I go up on the look acceleration up to a 4, which I was 3 in Season 3. Other than that, guys, zoom sensitivity, I still keep all of my zooms default at 1. It helps create muscle memory. I've been playing this game for what? It's been about 2 years now with all default. Unless you're really having trouble with something like the 10x scope, I probably wouldn't change these settings because, again, just 1 makes a good flat sensitivity scaling for all of the scopes on all of the different guns. Trigger dead zones, I have them all default. Don't change these unless you're having any problems with, like, charging the plasma pistol or keeping a gun shooting full auto, because this will come down to when your trigger contacts at the bottom and at the top of basically the curve of the trigger, if that makes sense. And now my dead zones, guys. On my move stick, I have not changed these at all. 5.5 center, 15 max input, 3 on the axial. The only thing I kind of bounce around with is the max input threshold. I did run 0 for quite a while. Now I'm back to 15. This will basically just adjust how long it takes you to hit that max strafe speed. And with 15, you can hit it faster. With 0, you hit it slower. So I just take the faster strafe. Some people say it throws off their aim a little bit. I don't really see that big of a difference, so I keep the 15 on the max input threshold. I may give 0 another chance because, again, I'm having trouble keeping the higher accuracy in my gunfights, but I personally run 15. And then the center dead zone and the axial, I just go this high basically to keep the drift off my move thumbstick. Now, the look thumbstick, guys, I get a lot less drift. But I feel the aiming feels a lot better with 6 on the axial, but I'm able to run 0 on the center with no drift. And then the max input, I run on 7. I can't tell you guys why I run the exact digits I do on the max input and the axial, but I've tried a lot of different numbers. People have given me a lot of different numbers, and these just feel really, really amazing for me personally. I really like them. I do run raised stick on my Xbox Elite Series 2. I also run 4 paddles. I realized I didn't give you guys the controller. So before you comment what controller I run, Xbox Elite Series 2, raised right stick with a tall control freak on a default stick. That's what makes it raised. But these just feel absolutely amazing on the look thumbstick. I would not plan to change these, and it's just really smooth to me. As for keybinds and things like that, I really don't run anything special at all, I don't think. I have my mark button up on my D-pad, and then I run ABXY on my back paddles. So I never have to reach up to ABXY because I never want to take my thumb off of my aim stick. So I'm always aiming when I'm jumping, sliding, reloading my gun, or switching my weapon. And then my melee is pushing in the right stick, just because that's what I've always been used to. I'm not going to lie. If you guys watch live streams, you see me quite often accidentally press the thumbstick like that while I'm mid gunfight. Sometimes I just grip the controller too tight and make that little blunder. It's embarrassing, it's awkward, but it's kind of just, I'm so used to having it on the thumbstick that I just don't really want to move it anywhere else. I've actually pondered moving it to my reload paddle and taking reload off the paddle, because we all get in the habit. We shoot 2 bursts and then we're running away reloading. It's like you don't have to reload so often. But these are all things I think about as I get higher up in the lobbies. But right now, the melee on the stick is just what is comfortable. I do not run vibration. I don't like it. Hold to crouch. Run hold to crouch. Trust me. Trust me. It's less button presses if you're doing the crouch strafes and things like that. Because you hold it down, you let it go. You hold it down, you let it go. Rather than having to press it each time you want to make a move, and you can bag people way faster with the hold to crouch, if I'm being completely honest, if you're into that type of thing. Hold to zoom, I also run, just so if I get scope knocked, it'll just go right back in, and then when I let go, it's in. Because if you have to press it in and then press it again to de-scope, it's just way more button presses than you really want to think about. And hold to sprint, guys, I do have off. However, maintain sprint I have on. This helps with some of the skill jumps like the pizza jump and things like that. So if you hit a ledge, your character will automatically keep the sprint rather than you having to press in the sprint button again. Auto clamber I do have off because sometimes I want to peek a ledge without automatically mantling onto it. Step jump I have off as well. I don't know if many players run this, but I just like all the jumps to be normal height. I feel like it makes it easier when crouch jumping ledges as well. But I think that pretty much covers all of the settings alone. FOV, I do run 97. I've run this for a very, very, very long time. It's very comfortable. I think it's the perfect middle ground. I'm able to win close range gunfights while also being able to have a decent amount of aim on the long range gunfights, because again, if you go up to 100 or even 120 specifically, the model will appear further away, which can make the longer range gunfights a little tougher for some people. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all my controller settings for Season 4. Will I make any changes? Probably, but I don't plan on making any right now. I really like where I'm at. So I did go down on the sensitivity. I went up on the look Excel to compensate for going down on the sensitivity. And then again, we do have the new setting of the zoom reset behavior, which I run Legacy, but honestly, I'm interested to hear your guys' thoughts on what you guys run down in the comment section. But outside of that, guys, subscribe to the channel. We upload literally every day here. We stream this game 5 days a week. Working on getting better in the Onyx lobbies. We're not quite Onyx yet, but we're just about there. So hit that sub button, guys. Leave a like on the video. Leave a comment. Let me know what are you running, Legacy or Infinite, and how you liking my controller settings if you've given them a try. And then other than that, guys, channel membership, super thanks for support monetarily. It helps me out a lot as a content creator, but please do not feel like you have to. But alrighty, guys, thank you so much. I know people wanted to see this video, and I finally got it out for you guys. So that is the changes I've made from my Season 3 settings for Season 4. So thank you guys so much for all the support. I love y'all. Stay happy, stay healthy, and stay tuned for the next video.